So bad news.
Yes.
Didn't
get to see White Derby.
We did not get to see the Pioneer game finish because that table's game was over.
Yeah.
They did not need to play Game 3 of the Pioneer game because the other team won.
Legacy and Modern took it. Yeah. Really good match, though, for Modern.
On to round 6.
Last
and this round in the feature match area, we have Brian, who we watched in, was that round 1 or 2?
Round 2?
Round 2, I think. Brian playing Jun Saga.
Yeah, yes.
Versus Joe on Amulet Titan.
Very excited. Amulet Titan is a deck that definitely rewards people that have put reps into it.
Yes, absolutely. Amulet Titan, very, very, very rewarding for people that know the archetype.
It's incredibly complicated.
Yes.
It requires that you really understand the lines of play and what you're playing to.
Yes.
Because it's effectively a combo deck, right? So it's going to use Titan or Amulet of Vigor. And Amulet of Vigor is an single mana artifact that just says if a permanent one enters the battlefield tapped, untap it. And that is a triggered ability. So it's not that it comes in untapped, it untaps it. So if you have multiple, they stack.
Correct.
Which is really important because we got a new card called Mycosynth Gardens, which is a land that can copy an artifact.
Yep.
And you can copy the amulet.
Correct.
And it basically creates a scenario where you can play the bounce lands, like the double mana bounce lands. Play
the Karoo lands.
The Karoo lands. Play them, make 2 mana, and then bounce the Karoo land back to hand.
Yep.
And if you have multiple amulets in play, you can play your Karoo land, untap it, tap it, untap it, tap it, bounce it back to land. And you're making so much mana. And what's your goal here?
To cast a Primeval Titan.
Correct.
So that you can go find Slayer Stronghold. I was watching this Amulet Titan deck earlier. I don't know that he has the Slayer Strongholds. He might. I don't know.
It's not required.
He is on 4 Valakuts, though.
Ooh.
Yep. 4 Dryad of Elysian Grove, 4 Valakut.
Love that. And Dryad's sort of a natural out against Blood Moon decks.
Yeah.
And also makes your Valakuts better.
Yep.
Oh, look at that vascular boy.
Yeah, look at him. What a hunk.
He do look good, and he's got no cares in the world.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a deck that has only gotten better over time. It's a deck that always has been good. Valakut has always been a great line of play to kill your opponent. But now we basically have a turbo mode.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
We have seen Jun Saga before. It's sort of a mid-range deck.
Look, it's a Mox Diamond that can block.
Yeah, and it plays an Urza Saga.
Our buddy Arboreal Grazer going to hit the table and put an Urza Saga into play.
And at this point, if it dies, it doesn't matter. It's already put the Urza Saga into play, and that Saga is eventually going to get
an amulet.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's gotten so... And again, when we talk about all the gets that Amulet Titan has gotten, it's just ways to get Amulet.
Yep.
And we got a Ragavan coming in.
Look at my monkey boy. Ragavan, Nimble Pilferer, are going to hit the board there.
Notably gets blocked real good by this.
It does. And so that's like the best part about Arboreal Grazer, right? Yeah. It's like you don't need a removal spell because you just break the attack.
It has reach. Did you know that?
I did know that.
That's insane.
I have cast many an Arboreal Grazer in my day.
So it sort of represents what is currently the modern cycle of 1-mana creatures.
Yep, we were talking about this, last week. If you were to define what the best 1-drop creatures are in each color in the modern format, the green one
Azusa.
The green one is going to be Arboreal Grazer, right?
Yeah, it's not close. Red is Monkey, or Darcy, debatably, and then green is Grazer. Azusa, Lost But Seeking, fantastic card. Lets you make additional land drops, and you'll notice sort of the key theme of this deck is making additional land drops. It is turn 2 right now, and he deployed a 3-mana 1/2 that lets you play even more lands.
Yep.
Like if you look at
so when you have a Karoo land and an Amulet of Vigor in play, you can make 6 mana.
Yes.
With an Azusa.
Which is the magic number.
It is.
Because how much mana does Primeval Titan cost?
6.
Sucks. Okay, so we got a Ren 6.
Ren and, is this the first time? No, it's not the first time we've seen Ren and 6.
It's still rough. And now testing the waters, and spending a counter on Ren and 6 to kill the Arboreal Grazer.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable from both sides. So now we've got a trigger from the
Saga going up to chapter 3.
Yeah,
Joe's going to decide what he's going to do.
Maybe float mana, probably float mana. So floating mana off that. He's got 1 in play. He's probably going to go get the Amulet now. There's the Amulet of Vigor. Card that definitely needs a reprint, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be clear, like, this is one of the decks that I know really well because I like it a lot.
I think the Amulet Titan deck has received enough reprints recently that is relatively inexpensive to build. I believe that the most expensive pieces of it will be the Amulet of Vigors themselves, the Urza Sagas,
and Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, but you only play one copy of Cavern, though, right?
1 to 3. Yeah,
looks like a Summoner's Pact.
For what is he getting?
I wonder.
Yeah, and this is sort of the thing that I was talking about, where the deck rewards knowledge. Joe knows exactly what he's getting.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how he's going to play it. He knows how he's going to pay for that.
Yep.
So he's getting the Titan. He knows that he can pay for Titan, right?
Yep.
Because it's going to get lands. And I'm going to guess that Brian doesn't have Blood Moon main board that's going to kill him. Also, so this is sort of an interesting decision. If you see that land on the left that he played, that is
it's a Crumbling Vestige.
A Crumbling Vestige, which is a common from Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yep.
Or for Battle for BFZ? Is it BFZ or Oath?
So he has gotten the Slayer Stronghold, the Boros Garrison.
Yeah.
And he gives Primeval Titan haste, which allows him to go get 2 more land cards out of his deck.
It's frankly incredible. So
we have reached critical mass, effectively, right?
This is what the deck wants to do. And you'll notice Brian on 2 lands, Joe about to be on 6.
Yes.
Just
6 lands, but 8 mana.
8 mana. Like a frankly absurd amount of mana. And he's going to have places to spend it too.
It looks like he's going to get another Karoo land and a Teleria West. I would imagine the Karoo land going to put the Teleria West back into his hand.
Yeah, he gets to just do that.
And now he has a tutor.
That for 3 mana sounds like a lot. It's not genuinely. So he's going to bounce the Karoo,
float 3. Put the Teleria West back into his hand.
He's bouncing the Crumbling Vestige back so he can reuse it.
Oh, sure.
Because he can play it again with Azusa.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, insane, right?
Yeah. Don't have our life tracker there. Definitely think that we're getting some mileage here. I think we're just kind of making decisions on how we're spending our mana. So we're going to play the Crumbling Vestige again, make some additional mana. I think he's just passing the turn back. Definitely has a good blocker up for the monkey now. Even if he can deal with the prime time, Zeus is just going to allow him to have additional playthrough. Going to Lightning Bolt Azusa. And then, let's see, what is that? What card is that?
There's a card that you wanted to see a couple rounds ago. It's Glissa Sunseer.
Oh, Glissa Sunseer. What a card. This is from the new, this is a 3 mana Phyrexian zombie elf, or just Phyrexian elf. No, not Sunseer. This is the new Glissa.
Herald of Predation.
Herald of Predation. It's a 3/5. No, this is the 3 mana one, not Herald of Predation. Glissa Sunslayer.
Sunslayer.
Yes. So
Slay Queen.
It does have a first
Glissa Sunslayer.
Yeah. Slay. So she's a 3/3 with first strike and death touch.
Correct.
Which is a doom.
Yes.
Primetime still gets the trigger on attack if he attacks. And odds are he's going to.
Of course.
But it also means he could play in addition. So we've got a trigger. He did pay for the
The Summoner's Pact.
Summoner's Pact. Thank you. 0 mana instant, find a green creature, put in your hand. You have to pay 4, otherwise you lose the game. He did, in fact, choose to not lose the game. We're playing another Summoner's Pact.
Summoner's Pact for Dryad. So what he can do here is cast the Dryad, and then the Primeval Titan trigger will just go get copies of Valakut, which will kill him when they enter the battlefield.
Yeah. Because now we've got, there's Valakut. It's going to kill the Glissa Sunslayer.
Yeah, and now when the Titan attacks, we get Valakuts from the deck.
Wow. Game
is over. GG. Game 1 going to Joe on Amulet Titan there.
We just get to see how fast this deck is.
So, this is the second time that this Jund Saga deck has been on camera today.
Yeah.
And this team is 4-0-1.
Yes.
Or sorry, no, they're 3-1-1.
3-1-1.
They're 3-1-1.
Wow, so they need to win.
So, yes, a win here will get them into the top 8. But what I was going to say was, when this Jund Saga deck gets paired against like your fair decks, your Murktide region decks, your Zoo decks, things like that, it can do some pretty impressive things.
Yes.
Because for a fair deck, it has some very busted cards.
It has all the answers.
But when you get paired up against some of these more unfair decks, like Amulet Titan, like Rhinos,
yes,
doesn't look so hot.
They get to do extra things.
They do whatever they want because you're not impeding them anyway because you don't have islands in your deck.
And you're not interacting profitably on the stack in any conceivable way. You're really playing to the board.
Yes.
And all of your interaction is either hand attack
Correct.
or board-based interaction.
Discard spells.
Yes.
I'm not fond of the term hand attack.
No, I will continue attacking.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely
we have not actually recorded any of the Pioneer sets. We are recording
Legacy. We're recording Legacy. Yep.
Yeah. But the
Pioneer not getting a feature today. Talk to the old cranky man himself. If that's a problem with you, he can give you an answer.
Yeah, it's just Luke asking. Yeah. While I would love to feature that, it would require some additional camera setups that we just don't have yet. We're working on it.
Yep.
The goal eventually is to have 3 camera sets up that we can just pop.
So once again, we are covering Modern Live. We are recording Legacy to do content on later, and then Pioneer not getting any coverage.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke. You're a good man.
You are a good dude, Luke.
We're still doing some sideboarding here. What do you think? What do you think Titan's bringing in, or anything? Like we've got endurance, possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Dismember, possibly.
I like engineered explosives.
Mm-hmm.
The threats that they play to the board, they're just really easy to clean up with an engineered explosives.
Right. Yeah, you can, because you have enough mana that you can kind of set that engineered explosives wherever you can tutor.
You can tutor for it off of
Teleria
West.
Yeah, you can't tutor for it with Urza Saga because it has to have a mana value of 1 or 0.
Or 0 specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, so not really something we can do directly, but
you can get it with Teleria West.
But Teleria West does get it.
Yes,
because Urza Saga is such a weird card and like a weird formatting. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah, so Teleria West is really, really good in the Amulet Titan deck because specifically it can find any land, and it can also find Engineered Explosives and Summoner's Pact.
Yes. So, talk about the Jund one. What do you think we're getting in Jund? Possibly...
I did have a look at his sideboard earlier. He does have copies of Beseiju.
Okay.
He also has copies of... Hang on a second. Let me refer to my notes.
We have note taker here.
Here.
I was wondering if Alpine Moon comes in.
He does not have Alpine Moon in his sideboard.
Okay.
He has Beseiju.
Mm-hmm.
He has Relic.
Okay.
And he also has Engineered Explosives. I don't think that's very good. Actually, it might be okay in this matchup.
Yeah,
you can
Amulet.
Anything that can kill an Amulet, I think, is probably pretty fine. So maybe Explosives, but definitely Beseiju.
Yes, Beseiju just being able to be uninteractable
Yep.
destruction.
Just
Uh,
kill an amulet.
The problem with engineered explosives is it costs mana to cast appropriately.
Yep.
And it costs mana to activate appropriately.
Yep.
And if your opponent already has multiple instances of Amulet in play,
Engineered
probably
explosives
have a bad
will
time.
kill all of them.
It will, but you're already having a bad time.
You're not wrong.
No, it's that thing where, like, yes, you can have answers to multiple things, but if your opponent has gotten to the point where they have deployed these things, you're probably sitting in the middle of a creek you can't swim out of.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a potential for Torpor Orb, too, which is a weird thing, but it works.
Torpor Orb from the Jund deck?
Yes.
Interesting.
But
I don't
think he's on that.
I don't believe he has that in his sideboard.
No, but it would sort of stifle the
It turns off Titan and
Yes.
it turns off Valakut, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't hate seeing a Blood Moon in this deck. Because if he plays Blood Moon strategically, he can just kill his opponent with their own Summoner's Pact.
I have actually seen that happen before.
Yes. Like, it's such a heads-up play, and it works.
Yes. Summoner's Pact, sure. Okay, cool. Pass to you.
Yeah.
All right. Blood Moon?
Yes.
It's
just straight scoop, right?
I have seen this very thing happen before.
There's a reason Summoner's Pact is very good, but also has some risks to it. It also, being post-board, Joe, I think, has to respect it. Like, he may just go get forests and hold them up. And there's no real way to deal with basic lands in Modern. There's really no way to deal with basic lands in almost any format, right? Strip Mine, not exactly.
Strip mine notwithstanding.
No. Strip Mine, only legacy, only legal and vintage. Not seeing play at any of these tables today. Are we still mulliganing? Okay, I think we're getting there. Saga having the mulligan.
We have resolved a bunch of mulligans.
Yeah, I don't know what number we're on, but it's getting deep. I do think Titan is one of those decks that the more you play with it and the more experienced you are with it, the more comfortable you are mulliganing hands away that aren't doing anything. You really want an impactful hand that is not just lands and spells. It is the correct distribution of the plays that you need to win the game, which requires a lot of disciplined mulliganing and a lot of knowledge of the deck, as well as knowledge of whatever your opponent is on, right? It's going to be rough if the Jund deck has to go down a lot of cards, because it really values its resources in terms of cards in hand. A lot of the interaction that it has is 1-for-1, and then it really utilizes the spells that it's top decking and later turns to kind of bridge the gap and go the rest of the distance. I think we're getting started. We did reveal a Gigantha. That's our companion on the Jund side, so definitely not running Liliana of the Veil in this build, or rather in this iteration of the deck. So at post sideboard, are we mulliganing again? Ryan's sliding his hand back into his deck. Looks like we're going to another mulligan for Brian.
Saga is going down to 5.
Okay. Did Joe already keep?
He kept 7.
Titan kept. Yeah, Blake just running out and checking to see on the hand size here. Joe keeping 7, sort of an indicator that he has something powerful. I was just saying that, the requirement for Titan decks and Titan pilots is to be disciplined about your mulliganing, that you're not just looking for lands and spells, that you're looking for the correct distribution of everything.
Yeah, most definitely.
Like, you have to be able to do something the first couple turns of the game, because those are going to be the most impactful for you. Because, like, we want a turn 1 Arboreal Grazer, right? Probably more than anything. If not a turn 1 Amulet.
Yeah, turn 1, you want to have an Amulet or an Arboreal Grazer.
If not both. We could potentially do both, right? Because you could Grazer play a second land and then tap it for
The land that you play off of Grazer comes into play tapped.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Grazer has a triggered ability that says when it enters, you may put a land from your hand into the battlefield tapped.
For some reason, I thought it was untapped because he played the Urza Saga in the last.
Yeah, but it came in
tapped. Yeah, because turn 2 he played Azusa. Right. Okay, so we have a
looks
turn
like,
1.
Looks like we have kept 5 here for Saga, and we are off to the races, starting out with a Ragavan, passing to Joe, and Urza Saga into an Amulet. This is
quintessential.
This is a very powerful draw.
Yes. This is even mulliganing down, having a turn 1 Ragavan is so good because it represents additional resources in terms of treasure and additional resources in terms of taking cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Now, hopefully he's foresighted enough to, if he hits a Summoner's Pact, not cast it. Hopefully.
A Bajuka Ball going to come down off of the Ragavan. Looks like he's not going to play that. Haywire Mite going to take out the Amulet of Vigor.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Now, this is exactly what John Saga wants to see.
What an unassuming little bug.
Yeah. Agreed. It's been such a great get for Modern for it's so cheap, and we had effects like this for 2 mana for the longest time. But being an artifact and being 1 mana means that it is easy to put in basically any deck and easy to activate. So you can find it off of an Urza Saga contextually. It is also a body, and it blows up. Does it blow up enchantments and artifacts, or just artifacts?
Haywire Mite?
Yeah.
Non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment.
That's incredible. Yep. That's exactly where you want it to be. Because it blows up an Urza Saga.
It does.
The fact that he didn't blow up his opponent's Urza Saga is actually a little bit shocking.
Yeah, the onboard amulet much more threatening than the amulet 2 turns from now.
Yeah, it does allow Brian to sort of establish more of a board in the meantime. So Haywire Mite does require a green mana to activate. It does gain you 2 life when it dies too.
It does. Yes.
That is not insubstantial.
Yep. So exile target non-creature artifact, non-creature enchantment, gain 2.
Yeah, that's just very good. Or just a 1/1 that you're just going to trundle in with. And a lot of these games, especially against some control matchups, that's all you need. Like it'll do 5-6 damage because your opponent doesn't want to deal with it, right?
Yep. So Ragavan came across last turn, taking Joe down to 16, exiled a breeding pool. We pass back to Joe. Joe looks like he floats a mana with his Urza Saga, goes and finds an Amulet of Vigor. Now we will see what he has for the follow-up.
Yeah, so he's
got 1 colorless mana floating.
Yeah, this is turn 3 now. He's got 1 colorless floating. He's going to play the Simic Growth Chamber, I believe.
No, that is a Gruul Turf.
A Gruul Turf. Yep. I apologize. These are is this Double Masters? The full art Double Masters?
I'm not sure what set those were printed in.
Yeah. Pretty reasonably sure it's the Double Masters full art. Yeah.
There you go. You see it on your screen right there, Gruul Turf. Actually got some really sweet art on it. These Karoo lands from Double Masters are very cool.
Yeah, talking about not liking the alternate arts on some things.
It's not that I don't like them. I think that they're really cool.
Yeah, it does
it makes it difficult to figure out what cards are in play.
It is true. So we've got a Dryad coming down.
It looks like maybe he changed his mind about that crew land and decided to play an Urza Saga instead.
No, he bounced it. He cast it. He bounced it after tapping it for mana, cast the Dryad, and played an additional land.
Oh, got you.
Because he had a Dryad of Elysian Groves.
Got you.
And then Brian responded by killing the Dryad.
Okay, sure. Man, you look away for 1 second.
I know, it was quick.
You look away for 1 second.
Brian mulliganing to 5, making the most of it. Like, really having a lot of answers for everything.
When the cards in your deck are literally just the most powerful cards in the format, and a Boseiju here going to take out the Urza Saga, Rin and 6 going upstairs. Again, most powerful cards in the format. You've got Ragavan, you've got Rin and 6, you've got Boseiju, you've got Urza Saga.
What is he? Oh, that's So now he's playing the Stomping Grounds. Did he get in with the monkey again? And he took the Summoner's Pact. He did not cast it. He's elected to not cast the Summoner's Pact. I don't know if I like that play. I probably would have been Doritos bold and cast it. He genuinely he could
just go get it. Just go get a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah,
that you can't play.
You can play next turn.
No, you can't. You have to pay for Summoner's Pact. You only have 4 lands in play.
Yeah. No, but you can because you get to play another land, and then you can attack with Ragavan, and you can sack the treasure, pay for the land, get the Tarmogoyf.
You're working way too hard for this Tarmogoyf.
Listen, when you mulligan to 5, you gotta do what you gotta do, baby. So he's gonna play the Gruul Turf. He's gonna bounce the forest to his land. Gonna be able to spend some mana now. Counting up here. That Renin 6 is at 5 loyalty right now. It's really just uncontested value.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So the problem here for Amulet Titan is that Brian has done a sufficient job of disrupting his game plan.
Yep.
He's killed 2 copies of Amulet of Vigor now. He's dealt with a Saga and a Dryad of the Elysian Grove.
Mm-hmm.
We are basically in full control mode. Amulet Titan is kind of F6'd at this point. I think he can probably crack this map. Go find maybe another Saga, which he can eventually turn into an Amulet.
Yeah, but it's timed, right? His opponent right now, Brian, has the ability to crack the Saga, the Urza Saga, go get whatever he needs to.
Yep.
It
looks like a Shadow Spear.
And then he's going to be able to get it back with Renin 6 and replay it.
Yep, and that's really the power of this Jund Saga deck, is Renin 6 plus Urza Saga.
That's really the game plan, right? Everything else is sort of tertiary to that.
Yep.
And he's going to hit him for 2, exile the Urza Saga, now just an option off the table for Joe.
Yep.
Just slowly whittling down.
So that would be the 3rd copy of Urza Saga out of Joe's deck now.
Yeah.
He'll only have 1 Urza Saga left.
Now we're just kind of running out of time on the Amulet side, right? He should have already been, if Titan's running correctly, he's already running a full tilt, right? That's
what I was saying before, is that the Jund Saga deck has done a sufficient job of hindering Joe's ability to play the game, and now the Amulet Titan deck just kind of falling apart, as it were.
Yeah.
And the longer this game goes, I think the Jund Saga deck's chances of winning just go up.
Yeah, and I don't even know what additionally it needed to bring in, other than the Boseiju. But even that's I
don't think it was a sideboarding thing. I think Brian just had a lot of answers. He had the Haywire Might. He had the Boseiju.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that either of these decks really needs to sideboard a ton.
No.
It's just about playing correctly. And, all right, so I will say this. Brian mulliganing to 5 isn't a death sentence. It's maybe just him being selective about the cards that he needs.
Yep.
And we saw it.
So I did see the second mulligan. I can't attest for the first one, but the second mulligan was a mulligan because he looked at his 7 and it was 2 Urza Sagas and a bunch of colored spells. He had, no colored mana in his hand. So he had to ship it back.
Yeah, the nice thing about Modern, though, is because of the power of each individual card, and it's the reason that the evoke creatures are so powerful in Modern, and even things like the forces, because you're not always playing every card in your hand.
Yep.
Right? The cards in your hand, oftentimes a player will die with 3 cards in hand or 2 cards in hand. And it there's the old mantra of burn, where the best place that a burn player can be is killing your opponent with no cards in hand, no permanents in play, and on 1 life.
Yep.
And you have to ride that lightning.
Right.
And it's totally reasonable for the Jund player to just go down, look for the right answers, get a good game plan. So we get an Azusa in, and it's dying to a lightning bolt right away. We've really just got a lot of resources on the side of. Do we have a Mycosynth Garden in play?
Yep, he did. We got a Mycosynth Garden in play. Once again, Jund Saga in a commanding position here. It's going to take basically a miracle for Joe to be able to scratch his way back into us. He can hard cast a Primeval Titan next turn.
Mm-hmm. which isn't the worst thing to be. He's at 12 life now. It's not bad. The problem is that Renin 6 is getting close to ulting. And then once it ults, he can start bolting his opponent to death.
Yep, another Beseiju going to take out the Simic Growth Chamber here. Joe is out of basic lands, so that is just a strip mine.
Wow. I mean, that's sort of the Beseiju doing the job. Eventually you run him out, right?
Right, yep.
Because even these monocolored decks, because like, even though they play all these Karoo lands, the deck is effectively mono green, right? Like,
yep,
they're just playing a lot of different lands,
right?
Because this is the modern version of a lands deck,
more or less.
Yeah, it utilizes a lot of different lands. Like Titan is obviously the big beater, but in this case,
I'm gonna go back to what I was saying earlier, and this is one of those decks that doesn't exist in any other format.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really compares to this. The lands deck in Legacy is a control deck. It's an attrition-based control deck.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the critical massy game plan of Amulet Titan.
Yep.
So Amulet Titan is one of those decks that exists exclusively in Modern, and it's part of the reason why I love it.
Yeah, it's a critical mass combo deck.
Yep.
Yeah, which is wild. Like, I love that.
Yep.
But it also, because it is so linear in its game plan, it allows these gaps where you can just play into it and just kill it, right? Like, if you know what to attack,
right,
then you can totally disrupt it.
Yes.
Yeah, and Brian has done such a great job of isolating. Like, that Ragavan has stayed in play this entire time.
Yep.
The Renin 6 has stayed in play this entire time.
Yep.
Because Joe doesn't really have any meaningful way to interact with the board.
He does not.
Yeah, there's like some amount of removal you can bring in. And if you have a Valakut and a bunch of mountains, you can start taking out things. But other than bring in like a Dismember from the sideboard, and then you're, fouring yourself by by casting a Dismember for
right.
1 mana? Let's see here. And Brian just in no hurry, right? Like you said, he is just in the control strategy. He's kicked the seat back.
Right. I think we have reached inevitability.
We've reclined.
Yeah.
Our feet are up.
Yes.
We're riding. Oh, we got a chalice coming down on 1, most likely.
I believe that's actually a chalice on 0.
Oh, chalice on 0.
Yeah.
Okay. Because no summoner's pact.
Right.
Totally reasonable. This Renin 6 is just getting huge. And now we're going to Beseiju again. Wow. Taking out the Mycosynth Gardens. And we're equipping and getting in for 3.
Is there another deck that gets to play 4 Beseijus with a straight face?
No. I don't think. Well, maybe Tron. Maybe Mono Green Tron.
Mono Green Tron plays 1 Beseiju.
Just 1?
Yes.
Interesting. Yeah, so another. He exiled an Amulet with the Ragavan.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know that it's that impactful, but...
Should he just cast it for the Rubbins?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe might. It doesn't really matter at this point, right? Like, we get a blocker down, but he's gaining additional life with the Shadow Spear.
Yep.
We have a non-insubstantial amount of removal at this point.
Yep.
He could probably ult Renin 6 next turn and keep it around and then just start bolting.
I don't think the Renin 6 ult actually does anything. He could have ulted it 2 turns ago and he did not.
It just doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
He just uses he's using it to rebuy the Beseiju.
Oh.
That's how he's killing all that
Joe's
stuff. And finally we got a concession from the Amulet Titan deck there. Yes.
Wow.
I was beginning to think
this deck has unlimited Beseiju.
I was beginning to think that this deck had unlimited Beseijus, and
this man is cheating right
and
now.
I failed to see that it was just Renin 6 picking that up over and over and over again. So we'll get a game 3 from here.
Very excited.
Yeah. I'm really glad that we finally got to see the Jund Saga deck actually play a game of Magic.
It feels like it just had some poor draws and some past
it did. I would agree.
And
I would be
now
inclined to agree.
We're sort of seeing a chug.
Yep.
Yeah, And going to a game 3 feels good. We get to see some interactive magic, hopefully.
I am never mad about a game 3.
Yeah, always love it.
Cannot be.
Because then both players feel good too, right? Like getting 2-0'd sort of sucks, especially in a competitive environment like this where people are really giving it their all.
Yep.
You want to get 2 post sideboard games so that you kind of feel what the deck is supposed to do.
Sure.
And
you get more for your money too.
Oh yeah, that too. Well, always more magic is better. The Titan deck also getting to go on the play now.
Yes.
Has sort of an advantage again because they get to, if there is a disparity in resources, it always favors the Primetime deck, the Primeval Titan deck, because they are the ones that are deploying additional lands. They're the ones that are getting additional mana on their drops.
Sure.
And if they can get in under the removal that Jund has, it's just going to be able to outpace them. But it was honestly kind of exciting seeing the Jund deck go to 5 and still just be able to get there.
Yeah, I think he really knew what he was mulliganing for. Yeah. He was really aggressively looking for that Beseiju, that Haywire Might that he could use to break up because let's face it, the Amulet Titan deck much less impressive without Amulet of Vigor.
Yeah.
Without
very good.
Without Amulet of Vigor, that deck significantly less explosive.
Yeah. That's where all of the explosive, like basically taking the firing cap out of the bullet, right?
Sure.
Full of gunpowder, nothing to set it off. All right, going to, what is this? We getting 7s here?
That would be great.
I'd love to see 7s. As much as I appreciate the mulligan system for Magic, as a viewer, sometimes you just want to see the game.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it also feels better.
Amulet Titan going back.
Yeah, that's fine. Probably looking for that explosive opening turn.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want a 1-drop. Yeah, it looks like Jund Saga is going to send his hand back too.
Yeah,
we're going to have a real quick commercial break. Let these guys resolve their mulligans. We will be right back. The Magic Dads podcast is now available wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube at the Old Cranky Man Collectibles YouTube channel. Magic Dads is brought to you by Old Cranky Man Collectibles and all of our generous patrons over at patreon.com/MTG Dads Podcast. Go check it out for exclusive content and so much more. This tournament is hosted by Game Castle. And we're back.
we let him resolve some mulligans.
Both players kept 6. Amulet Titan got us started off with a Fetchland Breeding Pool Amulet of Vigor.
Pretty good, that opener, right? Like, that's exactly what it wants to do.
Yeah.
Now we're just going to see if Brian has the ability to answer that amulet. Like, if he can remove it now, it's the best place to do it.
Yep.
Maybe just get a Haywire Might in play.
That,
even
that
like
would
a Ragavan.
that would be pretty decent.
Yeah. So, let's see here. We discussed some of the sideboard tech.
He does not have Alpine Moon. His only answers for the amulet are Haywire Might.
Incorrect. He does have it. I saw it in his hand.
He does have Alpine Moon.
Yeah, it's in his hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. The question is, what does he do with it, right? Because you do have to name a land type. Does he name Mycosynth Gardens?
So, Alpine Moon, an enchantment that costs 1 red. When it enters the battlefield, choose a non-basic land card name. Lands your opponents control with the chosen name all lose all land types and abilities, and they gain tap, add 1 mana of any color.
So Joe missing his second land drop, playing his second Amulet. Interesting. So he's got the Amulet or the Alpine Moon in play now.
I will go find out what he named.
Yeah, I want to know. I'm interested. This sort of a heads-up sideboard inclusion and does require knowledge of both the matchup and what you're trying to nuke. Was it a Valakut?
He named Urza's Saga.
Urza's Saga. That's a heads-up include, yeah. It does allow Urza's Saga to... so it loses all land types and abilities, meaning it would still be a Saga. It loses the abilities, meaning it would just die.
It comes into play and immediately is destroyed due to save-based actions.
That is incredible. So that's probably why he missed his second land drop, because he didn't play an Urza Saga into it.
Correct.
That's incredible. And we got a Renin 6 coming in, getting back our fetch land, playing the fetch land. Sort of a rough start here. I never considered that as a play to kill Urza's Saga.
Yep.
That's wild.
Anytime you change the text on Urza's Saga, it basically just dies.
Yeah.
It is a very, very fragile card.
Yeah. Dies to any moon effect, basically.
Yes.
Because it always retains the Saga subtype.
Yeah, it retains the Saga subtype, and if any point in time a Saga loses its chapters or does not have Saga counters on it, it dies to state-based actions.
If it has equal to or more than the chapters on it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got an Azusa coming down. Played a bounce land.
So he'll get to float 4 mana here.
Yeah, this is actually incredible.
Then he can play the land again, float 4 mana.
Yep.
Then we are in primetime territory.
This is sort of
double Amulet of Vigor triggers
Yeah.
with a Primeval Titan is an immediate kill.
Yes, it is, because they can just get in Titan, go get 2 lands that will make 6 additional mana.
Well, you go get a bounce land and a Slayer Stronghold.
Yep.
You activate, bounce the Slayer Stronghold,
So
play the Slayer Stronghold again.
Yep.
Then when you attack, you get to go get 2 more lands, float 2 more mana, activate the Slayer Stronghold again.
There's the Titan.
I think this is just a KO from Amulet Titan. Let's see if Joe can find the line.
Yeah, he has played so much of this deck. If he has the line, I would be shocked if he doesn't see it. So we're going to get a Mycosynth. Is that a Mycosynth Gardens? And this... So,
That is a Mycosynth Gardens.
we're going to get
2 copies of Primetime.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
I did not see this coming. So Primetime, very good at making additional.
So
land drops.
now when he goes and gets the Boros Garrison and the Slayer Stronghold, he gets to put the triggers on the staff, untap them, activate, untap them again, activate again. So now they both have haste, vigilance, and +3/+0.
And his opponent's at 12.
Yes. Good game.
That is incredible.
Absolutely absurd.
Like, the fact that there was such a back and forth in game 2.
So this is what I was talking about. If you can get the Amulet Titan deck to stumble in the first 2 or 3 turns of the game,
Yes, exactly.
and maintain that advantage for several turns, you're going to win. But if you let them do this kind of stuff unimpeded, there's no possible way that you can recover from this.
Yeah. So he's going to be able to attack with both, with the Slayer Stronghold. We have a Beseiju
That
shown.
does not actually do anything.
No, that's game.
Good game.
Wow.
Wow. Was that the quickest game all day? You
Yes.
blink and you miss it. It's just over.
The first game you sort of saw like the typical primetime win, right? Second game you saw the stumble, and Judd really capitalized on
Right.
that. And the third game, Primetime basically drank a Red Bull,
Snorted a line of
snorted
coke.
a Coke, and just hit the gas to the floor.
He picked up his brother from the pool first.
Yeah, it was 2 Titans.
Awesome.
2
Love
Titans,
to see it.
4 breasts.
Okay, so that's it for the Swiss.
Yeah, that's it.
We will now cut to the top 8s.
This is exciting.
And it is very exciting. There are a lot of Teamer Rhinos decks that are already into the top 8.
Yep.
So I am
At
very,
least 2, right?
I believe there are 3 copies.
3
of
copies of top
Teamer
8.
Rhinos already
Wow.
locked for the top 8. So I'm very excited to see what the rest of the decks are. And as soon as we know, you'll know because we'll be back. And for now, we're going to take another break. And we will see you for the quarterfinals in just a little bit.
Whew. Thanks, guys.